everybody. So I have a new video for you today. I'm gonna start getting into these lovely paper pads, and I'm gonna start every one of my paper pad videos by talking to you about how I go about using a paper pad. So the paper pad we're gonna start with today is Webster's Pages Love Story, and I've chosen a photo that I really like. I have chosen some little bits of extra embellishments. I just pulled out 2 Scrap and Happy Studio epoxy flare that I thought matched and looked nice with the paper pad. And then I did grab a stamp set out that I thought I could use on my scrapbook page. So I have a picture of me and my puppy, my little puppy Fitz. And I thought that I could bring in some quiet dog embellishments by using this epoxy flare and this dog stamp. So I got some of this new Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink from a Cherry on Top, and I thought that it looks like it'll match nice. So I was thinking maybe I'd do my stamp in that, and we'll see. I also might bring in some Coconut Swirl Basil cardstock for a background. I haven't decided yet, but here's my plan. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the paper pad and the stickers, and I'm going to use my lovely notebook from Rock Your Notebook. So this notebook has sticker paper in it, and I can curate and pull the stickers I want to use that I think will go with my photo and put them into this book, and then I'm working with a smaller amount of products. So that's kind of my plan, is not to get too overwhelmed with everything in a paper pack, but to go through it and kind of call out exactly what I want to use. I haven't decided yet. I am thinking about pulling a sketch from my Pinterest boards, but I haven't 100% decided. So if there is a sketch at the beginning of this video, then I decided to use a sketch. For now, I am not going to use a sketch. I'm just going to kind of see what mood strikes me. All right, let's get started on this and see where we go. So after I went through my paper pad, I pulled 4 pattern papers out that I really liked. I pulled a couple pieces that I want to fussy cut and some elements from a cut apart sheet. And I'm just going to decide here which one I want to use as my background. I'm going to choose that craft paper right there. I decided that that would make a really nice background. And then I did come up with a layout design, and I opted not to use a sketch. So I'm going to place my photo right there, and then I'm going to start cutting down some of these patterns to pull in for other parts of my layout. So I matted my photo on that diagonal pink stripe. That's one of my very favorite patterns from that whole paper pad. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this blue and white heart pattern. And I'm going to kind of leave a strip there for my photo to rest on. And that's going to be, for that part of my layout, I'm going to add a cluster and my title. But I really liked those colors, and so I really want to pull those colors in. I'm also going to use Hickory Smoke Distress Stain, or Distress Ink. I cannot talk tonight. I'm sorry. Distress Ink to ink all of my edges, and I'm going to do a layered torn section on the other side of that pattern paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like that long block of paper that I showed you before with the blue hearts, and then to balance that out, the other side of the page is going to have all of these beautiful torn strips. I'm just going to get those together. I think I end up using 3 or 4 different patterns so that that side of my page becomes more pattern heavy. So I have the craft or tan colored stripe, and then I put the gray stripe underneath of that. And then I took the piece that I'd torn off and I flipped it over because the other side has that beautiful like green teal floral pattern. And I really, really loved how that broke up those 2 striped patterns so that in the end it just looks really cool. I really, really like how this torn edge on my page turned out. I think it turned out really nice in the end. So I'm just going to make sure everything is inked, and then I'm going to get the other papers for the other side of my layout onto my layout. You can see here I'm just going to go ahead and layer up those 3 patterns just like that. And then we're gonna fussy cut. So in this paper pad, I found a floral pattern paper that I had actually started to fussy cut some of the floral clusters from. So I figured, well, let's just finish that off. So I grabbed 3 clusters. 2 of them were up against the side of the paper. And that's fine because I'm going to use them to tuck in things around. So I fussy cut all of those flowers, and now we're going to do our stamping. So from that stamp set from Ink Road, I ended up stamping 4 of the paw print stamps with the speckled egg distress oxide, and then I stamped 2 of the wording to create my title. So you can see here I went ahead and stamped Cuddles, and then I am using my label punch to punch out the smaller label. And then I'm going to go ahead on this same sheet of paper. I'm going to stamp the stamp that says DogMom, and then I'm also going to go ahead and use that same label punch to punch out the larger label, and that's going to give me my title. So while most of this layout comes from that love story Webster's Pages, which is very themed, almost wedding themed, by adding in these elements from my stamped elements and the epoxy flare, and by staying away from some of the elements in the paper pad that said things like love, forever and always, those kinds of things, I was able to really make this work. So instead of having something that is a wedding layout, we have something that is cute and a puppy dog layout. How about that? So I have everything together now, all of my mise en place, as I call it. So everything's fussy cut. I have all of my stamped images cut or punched out, and we're ready to go. So I'm going to start with these floral bits. You can see how I'm going to tuck them in and create kind of like a diagonal with my embellishments. So to embellish, I'm starting with the big pieces. I'm starting with the large floral elements, and then we're going to start to layer up the other things on top. I have those cut apart squares. Those are from one of the cut apart patterns that was in the paper, and so we're going to go ahead and use those. I am going to staple my 2 labels that I punched and stamped, and that's going to be my title, DogMom Cuddles, and then I'm going to use it to layer it on top of some of the squares. So I wanted to make sure that each one of these clusters has some elements that were the same. So each cluster is going to have one of these squares from the cut apart sheet. Each cluster is going to have a bit of stamping on it. And I'm just starting with the largest pieces of these clusters and then moving into the smaller pieces. I do this quite often. Now I will say that the heart that's on that kind of sand and white colored square, that's going to get covered up. I'm going to end up putting one of my epoxy flares there. But I'm just deciding how I want to start getting these clusters together, and getting some things glued down, tape runner down, I don't know, whatever. And the other thing I'm going to do for sure is I'm going to pop up some parts of this layout just so that everything isn't flat. Okay, so I have my paw prints. I'm going to go ahead and place them in 3 different spots along my layout. Decide where I want to place those elements. And here's where I kind of decide where I want to put those 2 epoxy flares. I choose to put one right over that heart. The heart, it was fine. It would have worked. I really wanted the kind of puppy dog epoxy flare because the colors really matched well. And again, I want this to have a subtle dog theme to it. That's my goal when I do layouts about my animals. I want subtle pet themes, subtle dog themes. I like collections that maybe are for pets, but that don't scream, I'm a dog layout, if that makes sense at all. I'm going to use these teeny tiny little word stickers, and I'm just going to put the date the photo was taken above this gray together to the left of my page. And then I am also going to use those stickers. So I put a couple of banner stickers and square stickers into my little sticker paper notebook. These notebooks are so fun. They're from Rock Your Notebook. And what they are is they're like a traveler's notebook stitched up, except it's sticker paper. So you can do just what I did here. You can pick out the stickers you want, and if you use them, great. But if you don't, then you can just take them off of that sticker backer paper and put them right back onto the sticker sheets without a problem. So I'm going to add to each of my clusters one of these little squares and one of these little banners. And can I just say that speckled egg color matched this paper pad fabulously. It worked. I was so excited once I started stamping with this color. This color is gorgeous and beautiful, and I feel like it's a color I'm going to be using again and again and again. So that's going to complete this layout. I'm just going to add these last little bits of stickers, and that's where we're going to call this one done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy how this layout turned out as much as I did. I am super excited to get started using up some of these paper pads. I don't know if I'll finish one, but I'm definitely going to make a couple of them much thinner than they are now. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.